All right, what's going on, everybody? It's hashtag homeless. It is day 56. And yeah, I'm loving it just as much as I love it every day. My second night in a bedroom. Second night in a bedroom. And prior to yesterday, or the night before, whatever, almost 2 years since I was in a bedroom. So yeah, everything is just, I'm burned out. Today is no exception. It's raining a little bit, but it's more like a sprinkling, a mist, and it's doesn't really seem like it wants to make up its mind what the weather wants to do today. So it's a little gloomy. But the temperature is all right, and the mist feels all right. So I'm just gonna sit out here and do this video with you. Got to go to social services yet again, only for I don't even know how many times in the last 2 weeks I've had to go to these stupid appointments. I'm getting so sick of it. I'm hoping that at least the thing I got to do today, I hope that something good comes out of what I go down there for today. They canceled my appointment last Friday, but they didn't tell me until I got there. And this rude receptionist, I'm not even going to talk. We already talked about her the other day. So yeah, I'm hoping that today goes a little better than last week's. And yeah, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of the constant, I don't know. I'm trying to find a job. Yeah, I keep getting these comments and trolls and, why don't you just go get a job, you lazy piece of shit? Well, yeah. So I'm going to give you the tally of how many jobs I'm going to give you the tally, how many jobs I've applied to and all the details. And just let this serve as a warning. Don't get a felony. Period. Especially for making a bad tweet, because you're going to serve a life sentence. You're going to go to prison. And then when you come out of prison, your life's going to be even worse than when you were in prison. You won't be able to find a job. You won't even be able to find a job at Burger King. So I don't know. I'm applying to jobs at companies that I know because I've done the research. I know these companies hire murderers. People who outright murdered other people, not accidentally, but murder. I can't even get a job at a company that is known to hire murderers who went to prison for murder because I made a bad tweet. So that's what we're getting at here. I have applied to, so far as of yesterday, at the end of the day, I've applied to 218 jobs, 218 job applications. I've had 13 interviews with 10 companies. For local jobs here in Jamestown, I've submitted 27 applications, had 9 interviews at 8 companies, had 2 job offers, was hired twice. Both job offers were revoked due to the background check with the criminal record, even though I was upfront before they even hired me, and the hiring manager and everybody involved said it would be okay. They didn't care about my criminal past. They didn't care about the criminal record. Then some dingbat in the corporate HR office, 2,000 miles away, whatever it is, puts a big rubber stamp on it that says no. Outside of the 2 rejected offers, I've had 6 official rejections out of the 27 applications. And then for professional jobs in my line of work, keep in mind, I have had a lot more time to put in these applications than I did for the ones I just talked about. But I've submitted 190 applications for jobs in my line of work. 53 of them have come back with an official rejection notice. 49 of those became stale. I just marked them as stale because of how much time passed. If more than a month goes by and you don't hear back, I'm just dragging it into a column I called stale leads. But I'm keeping track of them, so I know who I've already applied to, and if a job pops up again, so be it. I've had 4 interviews with 2 companies out of 190 resume submissions. I've had 2 companies come to me out of that. 3 interviews at one company, 1 interview at another company. The company that I interviewed at one time was looking for more of a software engineer, user interface software engineer. And of course, my resume shows that I'm more of a designer right now. They called me in for the interview because they saw that I did have engineering experience. But, they've probably got 100 applicants for this job, and they're going to find somebody who is a solid engineer who's been doing nothing but that for years. So the guy who was an engineer became a designer for 9 years, doesn't do as much software engineering work. That disqualified me. So that wasn't a big deal. But I did find out yesterday that the one company that I've had 3 interviews at, which has been going on now for about a month and a week, so 5 weeks worth of going back and forth, going on 3 job interviews, etc., etc. As of yesterday afternoon, I'm still in the running. I got a response back from the HR recruiter at the company. It's a small enough company that I might be able to slip in the door. If they're going to do a background check, which I assume they will, the background check's going to be reviewed by the person or people that I've already met with and interviewed with. It's not going to be a corporate drone in an office 3,000 miles away. It's going to be the people that I've had FaceTime with. So I'm still hopeful that pans out. I don't know. I can't get my hopes up too high because I'm getting rejected for jobs like Taco Bell and Burger King and things like that. Like, what the fuck are you supposed to do if you can't find a job anywhere? People are like, go apply for construction jobs. I have. They won't give me the time of day. Nobody will. I'm either overqualified because I worked in software for my whole life, or I'm, too soft because I sat at a desk my whole life, or I can't get a minimum wage job because, he's above that. He worked, look at all these jobs he's had before. And what am I supposed to do? I'm 48 years old. I'm filling out a job application for Burger King, and they want a fucking resume for a Burger King job. What am I supposed to do? Just make up a bunch of crap that I worked at McDonald's for 39 years and now I want to go to Burger King for something new? Like, this is ridiculous. Or just leave it blank? I don't know. I'm just so sick of this. But even without a criminal record, yeah, I can think back in my life. There was a time where I got laid off. In fact, the time that I got fired for going to the hospital for the birth of my son by a crooked tech company and a witch-ass CEO. It took me 7 months to find another job. It took me 7 months to find another stable job. I had a couple of little short-term, probably didn't last longer than 2 weeks, little piddly jobs here and there, but it was, but I didn't get anything stable for 7 months. So that's where I'm at right now. Let's see, let's check the time and see where we're at. Okay, we're at like 8 minutes. That's not bad. Okay, I was just going to start doing the standard plugs and go through the list, on a daily basis, but, I don't know. I'm just going to talk about... So yeah, the reason why I'm not going to do the plugs today is because once again, this is the 3rd time in a month I'm having trouble with PayPal. Locked out of my PayPal account again. A couple of you donated money to the PayPal account. I went to log in to transfer the money to my bank account. I'm locked out of the account. This is the 3rd time in a month that this has happened. Can't log into the account. Nobody that you call on the phone can fix it. I don't really know what to do about it right now, and I'm pretty sure that if I can't... this is like the 3rd strike. If I can't resolve it and get back into the account today or tomorrow, I am going to fight tooth and nail to get them to close it, because if I can't log into the account, I won't be able to close it. I won't be able to put the donations page to bed, so that's going to be sitting out. PayPal is a fucking scam. They're just a bunch of scam artists, and I mean, this is not the first time I've heard of somebody being shut off by them. They do it all the time. I do feel like that I know what's going on, and it has to do with the fact that I'm homeless, and I'm constantly shifting IP addresses. I'm using my phone to log in, or I'm using a web browser on a public Wi-Fi, and the IP address is constantly changing, and I think that that's what's causing my account to get flagged over and over and over again. And so I put in a support ticket yesterday. They said wait 48 hours. If you still can't log in, we'll call back. So I went and looked this issue up on YouTube. In fact, people on YouTube, this is the modern day garbage software culture that I'm talking about once again. There's people on YouTube who can explain the problem better to me than PayPal themselves. There were about 6 or 7 videos put out by different creators on YouTube. When I typed in the error message that I'm getting when I try to log in, I found 6 or 7 YouTube videos explaining the error and explaining why it happens and coming up with different solutions to try and prevent it from happening in the future. And so, if I'm able to get back into that account, there are things that I might be able to do that'll prevent this from happening over and over again. But I'm going to have to get into the account before I can. And if I'm permanently locked out of the account, there's like $30 sitting there that I'm never going to be able to get my hands on. And that pisses me off right now because I'm homeless. And, this is like the contributions of you guys. So I'm in the process of coming up with different platforms that can link to that donate page. And I'm probably just going to shut PayPal down. But I'm going to give them one more chance. This is it. This is the final chance with them. I'm not getting locked out of my bank account. I'm not getting locked out of other apps. PayPal is locking me out over and over and over again. This is 3 times in less than a month. So it's the last straw. I'll have to figure out how to remove that donate page, and I'll set one up with Square and maybe a different payment processor. I had to do something with Stripe yesterday because that's the photos that you see under the video. That's the payment processor associated with the company that is hosting that storefront that you go to if you click on one of those photos. So anyway, yeah, PayPal does this kind of nonsense all the time. I have never supported a political candidate openly, not even Donald Trump. I don't like what the government's doing to Donald Trump. I don't like the way that, they can't beat him, so they're just using this legal warfare against him. Let's just charge him with a bunch of bullshit charges and keep dragging his ass into court let's just keep throwing shit at the wall until something finally sticks. And he's like Teflon, nothing's sticking to him. And I think that's hilarious, but at the same time, we're just dealing with a bunch of dirty crooks. But there was one time in my life that I did openly support a political candidate, and I even got involved with the campaign a little bit, and that was Ron Paul. Back in the early 2000s, the second Bush inauguration, the second Bush election, and the first Obama election, Ron Paul was trying to become the Republican nominee. And he was more popular than the other candidates. But the mainstream media and the rigged election system shut him down. In New Hampshire, when Ron Paul was in the New Hampshire primary, he was on pace to win that. But these electronic voting machines, this rigged election nonsense, whatever, John McCain or whoever won that won. But whole precincts were reporting 0 votes for Ron Paul. And people were calling into radio stations saying, my whole family and everybody I know went out and voted for Ron Paul. And my precinct shows 0 votes for Ron Paul. And so they came up with a campaign to have recounts across the state of New Hampshire to recount the ballots to show that, they're robbing Ron Paul of lots of votes. And so this one group, this activist group, they raised the money. It was going to be something like $70,000 to have recounts done in a handful of precincts. And based on the results of that, if they found something, then it would trigger a statewide recount. But they had to come up with like $70,000 just to kick off the process. So they went and they set up a PayPal site to donate money. $70,000 came pouring in within 24 hours. PayPal shut it off. PayPal locked these people out of the account. And as far as I'm aware, PayPal kept the $70,000 that you all donated, and these people never got a dime of it. They were never able to recover the money. And so PayPal, if you're successful, especially if you have a store and you start making good money, PayPal will lock you out of your account, and then they'll keep the money because they know that you don't have the means to go fight this giant monster of a company to try and get your money back. And so it's just a big fucking scam operation. They'll just take your money. I even reported them to the Better Business Bureau yesterday, and the only reason I did it is because there have been times in my life that I've complained to the Better Business Bureau. It's usually the last resort when I'm finally just throw my hands up in the air and say, to hell with it, I can't fix this problem. You ruin a company's public reputation by doing something like that, and all of a sudden someone will respond to you. It's someone who can actually help you with the problem. It's happened to me before. But when you go to the Better Business Bureau and you look at PayPal, the people who, when you go there, you can rate a company. People have rated PayPal 1.15 out of 5 stars. So, but that's understandable, because who goes to the BBB website to report a good company? People are only going there when they have a problem with a company. But the Better Business Bureau themselves gives PayPal a rating of B+, because they've had 29,239 complaints filed against them, and I don't know in what time frame that is. And because of the length of time the business takes to respond to complaints, they don't deserve a higher rating than a B+. So, but I can tell you that complaining to the Better Business Bureau, it helped me solve more than one issue with a company over the years. I was having a problem with AT&T a few years ago, and it took me going to the BBB website and complaining about it before a vice president reached out to me, and we spoke over the phone about my problem, and this person not only solved my problem, but gave me a pretty substantial account credit and some other make goods due to the fact that I had been dealing with this issue for almost 3 months. I bought a phone from the online store from AT&T, and it was defective right out of the gate. The touch screen didn't work properly. And so I sent it back. They had a return process, but they never credited the return to my account. So I couldn't just go out and get another phone at the store. Nobody at any AT&T store would help me, and whenever you called them on the phone, they were just assholes to me. They wouldn't fix the problem. 3 months of constant online chats, phone calls, complaining. I want to talk to the manager, trying to get this resolved. Nothing. I got nowhere. I went to the Better Business Bureau and I complained about it. Within a couple of days, a vice president called me back, found out that, yes, they did get the return, and whoever processed the return never credited my account. Well, duh, that's what I've been saying all along. So I ended up getting 3 months of free phone service, some other make goods, and a discount on the phone I wanted to buy, all because I posted my issue to the Better Business Bureau. But nobody would have ever taken action until I did that and made it public. So, it is a useful tool if you're having a problem with a company. It's not a guarantee that complaining there is going to fix your problem, because some companies these days, they just don't care. You're just a piece of trash. Even though you're their customer, they treat you like you're a worthless piece of trash, and they don't care about your business because they don't. Some companies are just so big and they're making so much money that they could lose half their customers and not give a shit about it. And they treat you like that. And that's what it is. But the moral of the story with AT&T is don't ever, and I mean never, ever, ever, ever purchase a phone from them without going into a physical store. I know someone else who bought a defective phone from them online and had to ship it back and went through the same thing. But on the flip side, if you get your phone at a store and you have a problem with it, you can pretty much go to any of the AT&T stores and they'll fix your problem for you. They'll give you a new phone right on the spot. They'll fix your problem right there on the spot, and they can look up your account and they can do all the things that they need to do. But if you buy it online and you have it shipped to you, you're completely out of luck if something goes wrong. There is nobody at that company that will help you if anything goes wrong. And it's strange. It doesn't make any sense. But never, ever, I personally will never, ever, ever buy a phone from a phone company without going to the store and buying it in person because of that experience. But anyway, yeah, the Better Business Bureau works sometimes. It's worked for me before. So I don't know if it's going to resolve my issue with PayPal, or if the PayPal tech people are going to fix it, or it's just going to resolve itself. But yeah, I got to that level because this is the third time in a month. Let's see, what else? Garbage software, over and over again. There's a company out there, you may have seen this before, because they're using it everywhere now. They're using it at the airports now. A company called Clear. They're using this company called Clear for identity verification. It doesn't work. I have had problems with, I had a bank account that I was locked out of when I came home from prison. And in order to get back into the bank account, I had to go through this Clear identity verification, and it wouldn't work. So I ended up having to deal with customer service at the bank for like 2 or 3 hours on the phone before they finally caved in and they verified me other ways so that I could get into my bank account again. But the way Clear works is it forces you to take your phone and take a photograph of your driver's license, the front and back, and then it wants to take a picture of your face. And I've had to do this with multiple banks. PayPal wanted me to do it, and it failed. And I had to do it for, you have to do it when you go to the airport. If you file for unemployment, the state will make you do it. And it's all being processed by this company. And their verification process, it does not work. At least with my driver's license and my photo and my face, it does not work. Over and over and over and over again. LinkedIn has a verification process that uses this app. It does not work. I've been denied access to banks, online services, at least 6 or 7 companies because Clear identity verification refuses to verify my identity. They're using it for the TSA and, like I said, at the airports. So I finally said, I'm going to try and contact Clear. There's no phone number. There's no human being that'll talk to you. It's an AI bot. And they'll just send you a message when you're having a problem and you tell them what's going on. They basically just send you a message saying, "Aw, too bad. Go fuck yourself." I mean, that's basically what the message should say, because that's what the AI bot is sending back to you when you try and resolve the issue. They don't care. They do not care that their stuff doesn't work. And now they're putting out this garbage software that your livelihood could depend on. Your access to essential functions and services that you need to function in society is all being dictated by this 2-bit ass clown software company that can't get their shit together. And so you're going to start getting denied bank accounts. You're going to get denied, you're going to get to the airport and they won't let you on the plane. And things like that are starting to happen because the governments and these agents and these companies are relying on this piece of trash software. And if you're denied because they won't verify your identity, there's no human being, there's no person to talk to in any way, shape, or form that can fix the problem. You're just shit out of luck. That's it. And that's basically what society's doing right now. Society right now, we're basically handing over our entire lives to this AI bullshit, And it's getting to the point where you can't live your life because some AI robot decides you're no longer a valid member of society, and you're going to start getting denied services all over the place because of it. You know, like I said, there was one time with the one bank that I was able to get around it by calling the bank and explaining to them what was going on. And they could even see something on their end. They could see that I was uploading the license and the front and the back, and they could see it on their screen. They could verify that I was doing what they were telling me to do, but it just wasn't working. Their systems were just kicking it out. So finally, somebody did an override and allowed me to get through that process so that I could get access to my bank account again. But I mean, you're going to find more and more that instead of talking to somebody from India who you can't understand when you call customer service, you're going to be increasingly speaking with a robot, a literal robot who doesn't give a shit about you and does an even worse job solving your tech support issues than the guy from India with all the barking dogs and stuff in the background. And I do notice that whenever I call customer support these days, these people are all working from home, which I think it's fine. But, like I said, the last time I had to call PayPal, there was a bunch of barking dogs in the background. You call customer service, there's a bunch of kids running around screaming in the background. You hear a TV. I mean, who knows? The person might be sitting there with a headset playing Call of Duty while I'm on the phone with them. So, I don't know. Maybe the AI robot is better than calling customer service anymore. I don't know. So, that's my rant for today about bad customer service and bad software. And it's just something that you have to deal with. Being homeless, on top of having to deal with all this garbage, it's ridiculous. It is very much stressing me out. $30 in a PayPal account that you can't access in the grand scheme of life is no big deal. But in my grand scheme of life, that's probably like 1/3 of my entire net worth right now. So what am I supposed to do about this? It's just, and I spend all of my time now going to social services, filling out stacks of paper where I'm just writing down the same crap over and over and over and over again, jumping through these hoops so that I can get food stamps and stuff. And then, applying to 218 jobs without being able to get a job at Burger King. And now I've got to deal with customer service for 3 to 4 hours a day because everything's broken. And so I'm just tired of it. I'm tired of this. If I do pack my bags and go live in the woods, it might be a better life. It might be a better life than any of you are living. I don't know, because I just don't understand how people are cool with this and how society is just completely broken right now. And, we're not able to do anything about this. I don't know. So, let's have story time, funny story time. A couple of episodes ago, I said that I would share a story with you guys about, now I've said this 2 or 3 times and I never did, so I'm going to have to do it. I said that I would share the story about my boss who told Tom Cruise to go fuck himself. And since I've swore a bunch of times during this show, I'll swear a few more times because it's just, it'll all be together in one show. Let's see. So I had this boss at this one company. I've talked about the company. It was the company that made the speech devices, and it was the company whose stock price went from $18 a share to 6 cents a share. Now, the VP of marketing, he was hilarious. This guy was hilarious. He was one of my favorite bosses of all time. There was one time, and he would throw some temper tantrums. He would get mad. He wore his heart on his sleeve, but he treated everybody that worked for him like gold. He treated all of us great. He stood up for us. He went to bat for his team, and he took the slings and arrows that were coming at us and took him on himself. And he went to bat for his people. He was a great person to work for. I love the guy. But he would throw some tantrums. There were a couple times where I heard him yelling and screaming at somebody in his office, and then I saw like a phone hit the wall. And I heard things slamming around, and so yeah, this is the kind of stuff that happens in these tech companies. It's like Wolf of Wall Street and Mad Men, and there's probably another show that I can throw in there that it's kind of like a combination of a bunch of different, The Office, Mad Men, and Wolf of Wall Street all combined into one office. That's basically what it's like. And so this guy, I remember one time I was in a room with him, and he said something to a room of 30 people, and I looked at him and I said, you know, I'm so glad that I've met you, because for the first time in my life, I'm not the craziest guy in the office. And it feels really good to not have that title anymore. And so this is the guy that I'm talking about. So this guy, he lived in an apartment complex on the other side of the neighborhood that we worked in. And so he would walk home to grab lunch every day. And so this one day he goes home and the parking lot's all roped off and everything's all blocked off. And there was a film crew there. They were filming the Jack Reacher movie with Tom Cruise. And they were filming a scene in the parking lot of his apartment building. And he moved the rope out of the way and just walked right across the set to go to his apartment. Walked right in front of the camera that they were filming the scene. And so they had to cut, and they start yelling at him. And the director, whoever it was, starts yelling at my boss saying, you can't do that. We're filming a scene here. And my boss turns around. He's like, the fuck I can't. He's like, you see that door over there? That's my fucking apartment. And I'm going to get lunch. And you can't fucking stop me. And if you don't like it, you can go fuck yourself. And then he turns around and he walks to his apartment, climbs up the stairs, and goes in the door. And he turns around before he goes in the door and he yells back. He's like, and I'm coming back out in about half an hour, so you ought to be ready for it, because I don't care what you're doing. I'm still going to walk across the set and go back to my job. And so he disappears into his apartment for however long. He comes back out half an hour, hour later, whatever it was, starts walking across the parking lot again, and they cut. He walked right into the scene once again. And so they start yelling at him, and he starts yelling back. And Tom Cruise comes up to him and says, hey, man, that's not cool what you're doing, or something like that. And he turns around and he's like, fuck you, you short little asshole. I don't give a fuck what you have to say. This is my apartment, so you can go fuck yourself. And then he looks over, and Tom Cruise's girlfriend was sitting on the hood of a car. Her name was Penelope Cruz. They weren't married. The Cruz, Penelope Cruz and Tom Cruise, they spell their last names differently, but they were a couple. And she was sitting on the hood of a car in the parking lot during this thing, and he looks over at her and he says, what the hell are you doing with this asshole? Aren't you getting sick and tired of all his Scientology bullshit that he's probably feeding you every day? And I guess Penelope Cruz, she started laughing, and she had to cover her mouth and turn her face because she was laughing so hard at what was going on and what he had just said about Tom Cruise and all his idiotic Scientology bullshit. And then my boss just continues the walk across the parking lot and comes back to the office. Well, it was like a week later, a few days later. I don't know how much farther down the road it was, but it was a very short period of time. We're talking like a few days after he had just said that to Penelope Cruz. It was in the news that they had broken up. So you know why she broke up with him. And, when my boss looked at her and said, aren't you sick and tired of all his Scientology bullshit that he's probably trying to shove down your throat? She thought that was hysterical. And then 3 days later, they're no longer a couple. So, maybe my boss had something to do with it. Maybe she saw the light because my boss, finally, maybe my boss finally made her feel like, it's okay to let this one go. So there's the story about Tom Cruise and my boss who told Tom Cruise to go fuck himself. And so, yeah, I don't know if there's anything else to talk about today. Oh, yeah, we're at like 34 minutes. That's a good length for these episodes. And so I have at least an hour to kill before I even have to start walking over to social services today. So maybe I'll get this video uploaded and, move on with my day from there. Anyway, I hope y'all have a good one, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Peace out.